Hi, I'm Leslie Meredith with Breakbulk Events and Media here at Breakbulk Europe 2017 in Antwerp. And we have just finished a session on Countdown to 2020. I have one of our panelists with me, Robin. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Leslie.
And is this the Countdown to 2020? Does everyone know what that is?
No, unfortunately they don't. It was very obvious today that a lot of people really hadn't heard. We had 50, 70 people in the room, only 12 really had understood what was, well, if not understood, were aware of it. And in 31 months' time, the shipping industry, from a operator's point of view, is going to be changed a great deal. The carriers are meeting a huge decision point, and many of them are not prepared.
So tell me some of the options. What options can a carrier look at?
Well, there were really four when we get to 2020. The regulations say we're supposed to be using fuel with a sulphur content of less than 0.5 on almost everywhere in the world. And that is a fuel that really hasn't been made yet. There was very little of it. Nobody's tested it, perhaps one or two ships, but that's all. Then you could just stay with marine diesel oil. After all, it might be 0.1, but it's certainly less than 0.5, but very expensive. You could look at exhaust gas cleaning systems. This is a piece of equipment that goes in the funnel of a ship. The exhaust comes up full of sulphur. You bubble it through seawater. That absorbs the sulphur. You take the seawater out and neutralize it and clean it, and therefore put the sulphur in the sea, which has some environmental disadvantages, but very few. The sea can absorb an almost infinite amount of sulphur. The third option is LNG, is switching to this, using LNG as bunkers, and that is progressing, but at the moment it's less than 2% of bunker demand, and certainly by 2020 is not going to be a significant factor. And the fourth option is don't comply. To hell with the rules. You know, you might get caught occasionally and pay the odd fine, but then that is an option. You know, the shipping industry is renowned for being a little laissez-faire. We have some incredibly good ship operators who are not only publicly listed, but are very environmentally conscious. But are their customers? You know, would you, Leslie, pay more for something because it was shipped in a compliant ship, or would you? Well, 99 times out of 100, you don't know.
I was going to say I probably wouldn't know.
Well, think about every time you put gas in your car, you know, did that get in a truck to the gas station? Yes, that you're sure of. But did it come on a VLCC and the crude oil shipped from Saudi Arabia to Houston? Who knows? It probably isn't. But until shippers, all of us, after all, start worrying about what is cleaning up the environment and we worry about it, then it's going to be much harder. The compliance and regulatory structure, very simply, is IMO, the International Maritime Organization, a UN agency with 172 member states, has declared that nobody should use high sulfur fuel from 1st of January 2020. There are, of those 172, 88 nations have signed Annex 6 and therefore agree with it, but not many of those have put it into their statute book. So if you haven't got a law, for example, if you have a small town and it says we're going to put the speed limit at 50 kilometers an hour, unless you know there's a radar gun or there's a policeman, we'll speed. And today we asked the audience, you all drive cars, how many have broken the speed limit in the last month? And they all had to admit they had. We all have. And why do we do it? It doesn't save us money. We know we're not going to get caught. And so we have these regulations that are quite understood by everybody in the industry, not all of the carriers yet, or the shippers, but the industry understands them, but we don't yet have a very good way of enforcing it. And that is going to be very, very tough. And I think 2020 is when the regulations came in. It might be 2025 before we've cleaned up the environment.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That's very enlightening. Appreciate it.